Hi! In this video I'll show you how to set up an endless runner in Adact without any coding. An endless runner is basically similar to Super Mario, where a character runs vertically and tries to collect objects while jumping over obstacles. To do that, choose the competitive games, and here you will see endless runner. Once you create the game, then you will see the game setup and the default visuals on the left, and the preview of the game on the right. And you can actually play the game on the preview already. To set it up, the designer has to do a couple of design elements, and then you can just drag and drop those elements to fit the game. In this example, I'll show you what one client did to create their own endless runner game. So first of all, it is the character. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of different character images or player images, and this is so that the character that you're using can be animated. In here, it shows that this game will change to the next image every 50 milliseconds. And on the game, you will see that the character is slightly moving. To use our own character, I will delete all of the other ones that are here by default and start uploading our own characters. You will click on the image and it will ask you to drag and drop your character image. So here, the designer created 4 frames of a running character. So what happens if we just drag and drop all of those frames here? It's only important that all of the character images are of the same size, but the actual size of how wide or high they are, it's irrelevant. You can also use double images and the character will just appear double larger. As you can see, now we already have this running character by using those 4 images. If we would want to make it a little bit slower, then maybe increase the milliseconds when the next frame is loaded. Here we also have the use hitbox. Use hitbox basically means how large area of this character collects items or collides with different objects. So if we increase it to full and have 100% from all sides, then now the character also is running higher. It's also sometimes better to use the hitbox smaller than the actual image, so the game will feel a little bit more natural and you wouldn't collide with all of the objects very simply. So here we also have the next tab, which is Collectibles. This signifies what can be collected, and if you see the same, if you have seen the drop game video or any other phaser game videos, then it's exactly the same way. We will just remove the images that are here by default if we do not wish to use them, and this client used coins, a silver coin and a golden coin. So for the silver coin, we can signify that this one gives 50 points and the gold one, for example, 100 points. So once you collect the item in a game, you can see this small score pop-up signifying how many points were collected. You can change those colors here. So for example, if I set the positive to green, then now if I collect an item that gives me positive amount of points, then the score text is green. You can also have negative values if you want to have a collectible that you wouldn't want your users to collect. That would result in the negative red color of collecting that object. On the bottom here, there's a couple of effects, like spin collectibles. If you have it on, then you can see that the objects in the game are spinning. If you take it off, then they're just 2D images. Score pop-ups are whether the points value is shown when you collect an item, and the explode object when collected is also when you collect an item, whether it kind of blows up and creates this explosion effect. So let's look at the obstacles. What does the player have to avoid? So by default we have this rock here. So let's see what the designer created for this game. A sandcastle, which is 250 by 250. And also another sandcastle, which is slightly differently designed. Now, on the obstacles here, you can signify whether this object can be jumped upon. If you toggle it on, then jumping it doesn't break the game and doesn't make you lose a life if you jump directly on top of it. And you can actually jump from the obstacle another time. You can also set whether those obstacles appear on the air or on the ground, or both. So if it's on the ground, then those obstacles are only spawned on the ground, but for example, if you want to have birds as obstacle, then you can also set them to only appear on air. So for the ground image, this signifies this bottom area here, what the player is running on. If we would add the image that the designer created, then this ground image is just a simple, this sandy area. So now the character is running on sand, because as you can probably realize now, the character should be running on a beach. You can change the position from the bottom to make it higher or maybe lower, depending on how we would want the game to look like. You can also set one tile and make that tile repeat itself. So if you would have a 75 pixel wide image, this image gets just repeated all the time. So for the game background, if you don't want to use it, then it just shows the landing page. But here, the designer also created this beach background. As you can see, this background width is 1400, so it's actually much wider than the game area itself. So what happens is the background starts to scroll on the background. Once it reaches the end, it just starts again from the beginning. You can also set a wider, even 3,000-4,000 pixel wide image, and once the image reaches its end, it starts from the beginning. And on the score panel, again, the same with every other Phaser game, you can signify the labels, the lives, or some background images, and also set the font to maybe match, font color to match the game maybe a little bit better. So now you have the game visuals set up. What about the game rules? On the game rules, this game allows you to set the number of lives the character has. I would suggest around 3 to 5. You can also set whether the game will end when a specific amount of points has been reached. That means that you can challenge your players to have around 1000 points, and if you do that, then you participate in the raffle. Here, that's the game speed. So you can make it slower, or you can make it faster. I would suggest to keep it somewhere in the middle or lower part at first, and then increase the speed while playing. So this value of percentage, how much faster the game should go, should be around, I would say around 4 to 5 is good. So now while the game is playing, it actually gets faster on the background. So that makes the game a little bit more challenging the longer your player plays. If I would add it to, for example, 20%, then you can see the speed increase happening much more faster. So let's give it around 3. And that's it. That's how simple it is to set up a Super Mario type of an endless runner to use in your marketing campaign to challenge all of your players.